Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order when you check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Sports Pictorium Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. If he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL helmet poster. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Yesterday's Sports on the Sports History Network. We always hear about the teams that win it all and walk away with the ring. But what about those teams that don't? Here is my list of the best teams that experienced frustrating playoff runs. I don't normally have an interest in top 10 or top 20 lists because most of them are just based on opinion without any factual backing. However, here is a top 15 list that I worked on that I found very interesting on a topic that is not often discussed. It is a list of teams that were very good. Some were great, some should have won it all but didn't. But the one thing they all had in common is that they kept making it to the postseason only to lose. As a fan, I know how frustrating it can be to see your favorite team make it to the postseason year after year, only to lose when it counted most. Sure, everyone remembers the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. Both lost 4 Super Bowls and never won one. And yes, they're both on this list. However, there are 13 other teams on this list that at some point have known the frustration of not being able to get over the hump. Some might surprise you. Many of these teams have gone on to win championships and Super Bowls and see some great seasons. However, this is to show that even the greatest teams went through periods of not being able to win the big one. When a team is good enough to keep making it to the postseason year after year, you expect that at some point they are going to win it all. But as this list will show, it doesn't always work out that way. You will not find any bad teams on this list. Bad teams don't make it to the postseason year after year. And I'm not talking about teams that had just 1 or 2 good seasons either. I'm talking about teams that were good year after year. I did the research on this about 4 years ago, so keep in mind it's not completely up to date. We'll start at number 15 and work our way down to number 1. Number 15 is the 1979 to 1983 Dallas Cowboys. To start off this 5-year span, the Cowboys would lose to the Rams in the 1979 playoffs. The following year, they would lose the NFC title game to the Eagles, 20-7. In the 1981 NFC title game, they were leading the San Francisco 49ers, 27-21, with just minutes left in the game. They appeared to be on their way to a record 6th Super Bowl appearance. Yet with just under a minute left in the game, they gave up the winning touchdown on a play that would forever be known as the catch. The following season, they lost the 1982 NFC title game to the Washington Redskins. They would lose again to the Rams in the 1983 playoffs. After some lean years, the Cowboys would bounce back in the 1990s, winning 3 Super Bowls. At number 14, we have the 1978 to 1985 Miami Dolphins. During this 8-year stretch, the Dolphins missed the postseason only once, in 1980. In 1978, they lost to the Houston Oilers, and then to the Steelers the following year. In the 1981 playoffs, they lost a heartbreaker in double overtime to the San Diego Chargers, 41-38. Trying to bounce back just a year later, the Dolphins reached the Super Bowl in '82, but lost to the Washington Redskins 27-17. In 1984, they had their best team since their last Super Bowl victory in 1973. They coasted into the Super Bowl with a 16-2 record, but lost to a stronger 49ers team 38-14. In 1985, they appeared to be on a crash course to meet the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl. The Dolphins were the only team to defeat the Bears that season, and football fans everywhere looked forward to a Dolphins versus Bears rematch in the Super Bowl. However, the Dolphins were upset by the New England Patriots in the playoffs, and their Super Bowl dreams were over. The Dolphins did have their glory years, of course. In 1972, they won the Super Bowl and remained the only undefeated team in NFL history. In 1973, they won the Super Bowl again. Their combined record of the 1972 and 1973 team was a staggering 32 wins with only 2 losses. At number 13, we have the 1985 to 1989 Cleveland Browns. The Browns reached the postseason 5 years in a row, including 3 trips to the AFC title game. All 3 of those AFC title games were against the Denver Broncos. They lost in the playoffs in 1985, but bounced back in 1986 with one of their best seasons in many years. They defeated the New York Jets in overtime in the playoff game. And in the AFC title game, they were leading the Broncos 20-13 with just minutes remaining. They appeared to be on their way to their first Super Bowl appearance. But the Broncos tied the game, marching 98 yards downfield on what would forever be known as the drive. The Browns lost in overtime, 23-20. They reached the AFC title game again the following year, but lost another heartbreaker to the Broncos on a play that will forever be known as the fumble. In 1988, they lost in the playoffs, and in 1989, they once again played the Broncos in the AFC title game. This time, it was not even close. The Browns lost 37-21. The Browns are one of the few teams that have never reached the Super Bowl. But they have had some great teams, especially in the 1940s and 1950s. They won the AAFC title 4 years in a row, 1946 to 1949, and have won the NFL title 4 times, 1950, 1954, 1955, and 1964. Tune in again next week as we continue the countdown to the most frustrating eras of great NFL teams.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings your sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique unique items with a retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row 1 catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row 1 Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.
We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.